Okay, so today we are taking a look at HBAR. It is one that I have wanted to talk more about, so we are going to uh, talk about what it is, how it works, who they work with, and a couple of interesting use cases and some price predictions as well. So the HBAR token and the Hedera network aren't really a chain. That it's its own thing, and it's actually called a hash graph. So, what is a hash graph? A hash graph is a non-linear protocol that uses multiple points of contact to convey the information that it is trying to convey. So, where this is like uh, XRP, XLM, a lot of other chains, HBAR and HGraph or Hashgraph use this Hashgraph technology called a directed acyclic graph, which basically just moves or means it can move in multiple ways and across multiple points to convey its information. Its transactions per second can reach over 250K. I don't really know where that number itself comes from, but I think the important thing is just if you compare the 250K transactions per second against 3 to 4, that shows a magnitude of the speed and the efficiency of HBAR. So I guess let's start with some important information. So the consensus service is a Byzantine fault tolerant protocol, which I can talk more about in a different time. But it is ultimately on the end user experience operating like anything else that we are accustomed to. So it'll connect over the internet across multiple network nodes in order to transact across a peer-to-peer or an enterprise kind of a system. Then if we go up to a little bit more of the network scale, it is a distributed ledger service provider with built-in centralized control and client optimization options. It has a reduced size per transaction, which reduces costs and increases the network and transaction settlement speeds. So there is a maximum of 50 billion HBAR. It says here that it's only got 8.5 in circulation. This is old. It is currently around 33, which is much, much larger, and that has hurt the price action of HBAR. But with the amount of enterprise adoption and the potential that it has, and it has shown to have, I think it has a lot of opportunity here. Its maximum at this point in time, which was probably a while ago, was 10,000 transactions per second with extremely low fees and a 3 to 5 second settlement time. There are more currency applications, and I believe it also has a pretty extensive NFT network on it right now. It is a 3-layered what was it? A DAG. I can never remember the exact term. I apologize. It is a directed acyclic graph, and that means that the information on it can only be changed by those with permission. This information is across all of the shards, which that transaction actually touched. So it has a lot of the same chain information integrity design while having a lot higher speed. So as I've said before, the Hedera network operates on a network of transactions connected to only other transactions. So it is a form of a distributed ledger, but it is not a chain. So HBAR's utility is to serve the supply chain, DeFi, payments, and energy sector. Tokens are used for application. Yeah, I don't think that's anything special. Now, I think that the ultimate attractive thing about HBAR is that it is designed to operate at an enterprise height. So it does have a founding director membership program, which has changed over time. It can only ever have a certain amount, but all of these have been extremely active in the development of HBAR, the Hedera network, and its applications. So I have a handful of examples there as well. So this is the main Hedera page. Here we're on the governing council page, which is essentially all of these up here at the top right. So it has a lot of important names here. We've got IBM, Google. It's even integrated with Chainlink as well, which I think is another high potential crypto that is older, but it still has a lot of application potential. We've got T-Mobile, Dell as well. So they are already connected to a lot of very high profile companies who have a lot of interest. And this is just the explanation of the protocol again. I thought this was interesting. It was called the best distributed ledger technology. So Hedera is a public DLT that solves all of the challenges and inefficiencies of the chain. Unlike a chain, HBAR provides for transaction speeds up to 500K TPS, which is even higher than that 250K. So here we have something from NASA, I believe. It's calling out what they actually need and why HBAR actually works. So these large scale enterprise applications have to know with 100% certainty what's the correct version of a set of engineered drawings or information, or what the current functional capacity of resources might be at any given time. They need one source of truth. And this is where HBAR comes in, because it is able to transact so quickly, and it is able to put the information of every transactions across a network of transactions. So everything is in constant contact. Now, here's a couple of other things that have popped up. In August, this drop company They are working on HBAR, and they have been adopted into the whole FedNow pilot because they are processing microtransactions, and it's all off of HBAR. I do also have some other connections with HBAR and FedNow and CBDCs. I actually made a video on that a while back about Project Nodon, which involves XRP as well. So I will put that in the description here. This is actually a new thing that just came out like a week ago. There is a developer option on the Hedera network that you are able to make stable coins pretty quickly and easily as well. And I have another thing here on this. So if you are interested in this part of it, it has a lot of information out there now. But in a practical example, we have an option of creating a stable coin for just $4. It makes it really easy, and it makes it cheap to create these new technology kinds of applications for large scale enterprise and institutional adoption. So yeah, I'm back on the council page on accident, but again, it's a good point. It's connected to all kinds of people. I won't talk about each of these in depth, but it has a lot of information out there already. So now for the examples. So they are working with Google Cloud on a Web3 program. It's essentially just kind of calling out all of the efficiency advantages of HBAR here. It's carbon negatives somehow. It is high speed, low cost, and it has the high class security of that hash graph algorithm as well. So we also have IBM. They have not put out a lot of public information, but they are choosing to work with HBAR, and I believe that they partnered up with them in 2019 as well. I think that they were one of the early large entities who had a lot of interest in here, and I have a couple of other breakdowns that actually show how HBAR is tied in to other applications that we have already talked about. Here in this one article, it actually calls out a couple of other applications as well, which my personal interest at this point in time is in the financial technology space. So they are working with that, which this is the largest bank in Africa, and they want to promote collaboration between banks, right? And here it calls out a CBDC as well. And now we have the stablecoin option as well. So it has become that much cheaper and that much easier to actually implement this. Now, this was one of the things that I was personally interested in just because I'm an engineer. They have also partnered up with Boeing as well in 2019. There was some initial investment in 2021, And it seems like they have a lot of connections in between who's attending conferences and events and all kinds of stuff like that. So I think that is interesting. Just because I'm an engineering guy, I think that the technical applications of this, and particularly around HBAR in particular, just because of its unique advantages compared to a lot of other crypto projects, I think it has a very high potential to be adopted into a technical information transaction kind of application as well. I'm not too interested in NFTs where they currently are right now, which is essentially only cartoons and pictures. But LG has also gotten in early, and earlier this year in January, they announced a collaboration with HBAR where they are making it that much easier to show your NFTs on LG TVs right out of an HBAR wallet. So that's interesting. I think that NFTs will have a much larger role in the economy, but it'll be in the tokenized asset space, not in a bunch of cartoons. Here's some more information I thought was a little bit more technical. It's with Hyam, not really sure how to pronounce that, but they're a cloud protection platform that empowers enterprises to establish zero trust practices for protection. And I think that the networking application of this is actually really interesting, and it makes sense because it's able to transact so quickly, and HBAR is able to touch so many points along its network that it makes perfect sense to have this in an application where you are putting a lot of information on chain into a decentralized cloud kind of application where a lot of people are able to access that in different points. So I did talk about Project Newdawn a little bit. I will recap that a little bit in the next one. But the current price action on HBAR, I've been really interested in this. I think I've picked up most of mine between about 3.5 cents and 5 cents over the last year or so now. It did peak at about 50 something cents in 2021, but it hasn't had a lot of interest since then. And I mean, in all honesty, it has a horrible chart. But even despite the tokenomics, which they put out more and more HBAR out there, there is only a 50 billion cap. So eventually we will hit that cap. And before the next bull run, it is very likely to be able to see a lot of a price accumulation. But because of that increased supply, it might be held back in terms of the raw price. So I am still extremely interested in this just from a price accumulation standpoint. But of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just explaining what I am actually interested in. And let's just take some comparisons, right? So Kevin Cage compares a lot of things to Cardano just because it had that huge run up in the past. So if HBAR had the current market cap of ADA, we would be at about 27 cents or so, which is, just about a 5.5x. It isn't amazing. But if we really are able to capitalize on that peak that an asset like Cardano had, which is probably the most recent example of a success of a crypto project that had the same kind of attributes that HBAR is concentrating on. We are looking at something like a 57x, which would be huge for me personally, just from the amount that I hold. So this is kind of an overview of HBAR. It is a lot more information in one spot than a lot of content out there. But I do want to continue to talk more and more about this, just because I personally have a lot of interest in it, and I hold a lot of it as well. So I kind of actually have a stake in this too. So if HBAR sounds like it's an interesting thing, then put a comment in there and just tell me so that I can concentrate on it more.